Hello everyone, Luke Filmboss here, and welcome to this week's box office breakdown. So, this one's not going to be quite as long because there was no new movies opening this week, but we did have some good holdovers, so we're going to discuss that. Raya and the Last Dragon took number one again in its second weekend. Its second week at number one. Tom and Jerry, although it is the bigger hit, only had 1 week at number one. And Raya now has two, and with a 32.9% drop, that's one of the better holds during the pandemic, and that kind of makes up for its lackluster opening. Opening wasn't terrible, but this hold is actually pretty solid, and I think it puts it ahead of Wonder Woman 1984's second weekend. It puts it slightly below Tenet and Tom and Jerry's by about slightly less than a million with Tom and Jerry and a little more than a million with Tenet. And it's also quite bigger than The Croods 2's second weekend drop and second weekend. And that movie had really good legs. So I actually think that Raya will do well in the long run. It is still lagging behind as far as its overall grosses, but this is a solid second weekend, and I think that it can have pretty good hold next weekend. And because there's no new movies in theaters, while there will be new content, I don't think that's going to affect the box office very much. And then we have Godzilla vs. Kong, which I don't think is going to interfere with Riot too much because it's going for a very different target audience, and because Raya will already be in its fourth weekend. And right below it in second place is Tom and Jerry, which had a solid third weekend hold with 37.9% for an overall 4.1 million in its third weekend, which is a very solid third weekend considering how much this film opened with. It's having solid legs, much better than Wonder Woman 1984 had. And so in the end, I think it will outgross that film. Probably will get to 50 million by the end. And I'd just like to point out the fact that in its third weekend, it had a bigger drop, even if it wasn't by much, than Raya had in its second weekend. Just showing the difference in legs. Tom and Jerry did open with more, but it's obviously not going to have the same legs that Raya is going to have. So, I'd also like to point out both films have now gotten close to doubling since their opening weekend, but it took Tom and Jerry significantly longer to do so. Right in third place, right behind with a 40.4% drop, is Chaos Walking with a 2.2 million, getting close to 7 million there. Not terrible, not great, but considering that this movie really didn't have to be too big of a hit anyway, it's doing all right, especially with how bad the reviews are. Boogie had an okay hold. It's just a smaller movie there. In the top 5, Croods and New Age is still holding on with 31.4% drop. It's still falling, but not super badly now. And it's gotten past 54 million. Definitely is going to get past 55 million, probably even within the next week. Tenet's number one domestic spot for the pandemic is still within reach. It's not a guarantee, but it's still possible, so I'm still keeping an eye out. In sixth place, we have a new film. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. Jati Ratnalu. I'm not really sure what that film is, but it's a limited release. It only opened in 130 theaters and actually had a pretty decent theater average of $3,615 for an overall okay opening of $470,000 in its first weekend. But considering the number of theaters, that's very solid. The Marksman had a very small drop, actually the smallest drop in the top 10 easily, with 9.3% drop, and it was just around 450,000 for the weekend. Father, The Little Things, and Wonder Woman 1984 all made around 400,000 this weekend, all holding on. Wonder Woman 1984 had a pretty decent hold and is now just a hair away from the 45 million mark that I said it would cross. And so that's going to be about its cap. It's going to get a little bit past, but 46 million is being generous at this point. It did okay. It did considering the circumstances, it did all right. I will admit that it's a bit disappointing, but in terms of success nowadays, I think the big success is the fact that a whole lot of people saw this film thanks to HBO Max, so this performance isn't terrible. And that completes the top 10. I just want to state that Judas and the Black Messiah and Monster Hunter finally fell out because of some pretty decent drops. Monster Hunter might get to 15 million, still we'll have to wait and see. But there's the domestic box office breakdown. Just want to point out the worldwide right now, and Tom and Jerry is now at 67 million, broke into the top 6. And Raya is in the number 8 spot worldwide with about 53 million. It's having okay international legs. I think it might be able, with once some of the newer markets come in, with its legs in the new markets, it might get to about 100 million internationally, I think, at this point. So it could break about 150 million worldwide total, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But at this point, that would put it into the top 3. And the big thing I want to mention is that next week, I think there could be good holds. But Zack Snyder's Justice League is coming out next week. And what I'm surprised at, I didn't know when the reviews were going to come out, but they are actually pretty good. I looked at them this afternoon. I saw for the first time the reviews, and they were at 70% with about 70, was it 70? I can't quite remember what. The score was at 70%, and it had like 71 reviews. And I was surprised that it was getting decent reviews. And then I came back home after work, and it now sits at a 75% positive with 101 reviews. Now, I want to be a little bit cautious here because Wonder Woman 1984 had a certified fresh 89% with over 80 reviews, and then that film completely dropped to the now negative 59%, which it doesn't deserve. I actually like to look at it, the fact that Wonder Woman 1984, the top critic score is actually at 71%, which is actually on par and even slightly better than movies like The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, just movies like that. And it's actually among the higher rated films in the DCEU as far as top critics go. So I like to keep that in mind. With Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's kind of the opposite. It's got a 75% overall, but top critics, it's at 55%, which is about in range with like The Incredible Hulk and Aquaman, and I think maybe Iron Man 2. I'm not sure where the top critics score lands there. But yeah, it's definitely a good sign. Also, I've been just hearing some reviews, and I'm excited to see mainly Steppenwolf, because I didn't do any videos or anything about it, but I predicted that just because of analyzing some of Steppenwolf's lines from the 2017 film, that I kind of predicted what his character arc, well, not arc, but his motivations would be. And now I'm hearing from a lot of critics that I was right. I kind of got nervous thinking that maybe he's just going to be a generic, boring villain. But now we're going to watch the film soon, at least if you're interested. I know I am. But we're going to be seeing for ourselves how his character was pulled off. But I knew that the best way for his character was that he feels unaccomplished. He feels that because, like, for reasons like the fact that Darkseid, his nephew, is his ruler, and due to, like, probably, like, failures, like, not being able to conquer the Earth in the past, that he's seen as a failure in Darkseid's eyes and the other New God's eyes. And so he's trying to prove himself to them and stop feeling like this worthless, unpowerful being when he is this colossal, massive being. So I think that's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see how well they pull off his character. I've heard good things about this movie. I'm just really excited. And that's all the more I have to say. I'm going to be reviewing Zack Snyder's Justice League within a few days after it comes out. I'm not quite sure how long it's going to take me to do the review, but I'm just really excited for this, and I'm also excited to see how well the box office holds on, whether or not we're going to be seeing some solid holds with the competition of Zack Snyder's Justice League and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But I think in the end, it's going to all work out well. I think Snyder's Justice League is going to do very well, and the box office is going to have some good holds. So as we get closer and closer to the healing of cinema, things are just underway. I think that there's a lot of good signs here, and just excited for what's going to come next. Really anticipating how Godzilla vs. Kong does, and anticipating that movie. Once again, I'm going to be doing a review, so keep on the lookout. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to help you be on the lookout for more videos from Luke Filmboss.